It's Thursday, June 27th, 2024. And yeah, I said it's Thursday. This is the way the video starts on Thursday. You can imagine what kind of week it's been. It's been a very busy week. There's not just one thing that's been using up my week. It's kind of a collection of different things to prepare for the onslaught of the honey flow. One of those things is you may be able to see off in the distance the lack of zombies sitting out there. So I took all those zombies, I stacked them on pallets, and I put them in my building this morning. So they haven't flown today, and they'll be in there all night. So my rule is, if they don't fly for one day, then I can relocate them here. Well, I'm going to give them 2 days because I think it's going to rain tomorrow. And then I think on Saturday, I will bring them out here, line up my 6-framers right here along this side, make another row, and start making zombie splits. I was talking to my buddy who's sending over 50 queens, and I think he's almost ready to ship them over. So I want to be ready when they arrive. I want these nukes to be queenless for a little while before I get those, so I need to get on this. Ideally, when I make a split, I'd like it to be queenless for 5 days or so, because I like to give it a good shake off and check for rogue cells before I put that mated queen in there. So that process won't make this week's vlog, of course, if it's Saturday. So let's go back to last Saturday. We had our Provincial Association, of which I am a board member. We had a field day on Saturday. It was a really good time. It was a modest turnout because the weather was, I think, 2 reasons. The weather was definitely threatening, and it did rain like crazy as soon as we left, which I'm glad it held off. And also the season's so late, and therefore beekeepers are extremely busy. But I went and I had a good time, and I got caught in a crazy rainstorm on the way back. Ian and I were just loading some things in his truck and ready to head out, and we just kind of threw things in the truck, slammed the door, and we both ran opposite ways because it was pouring cats and dogs on us. So that was, see you later, you know. That was kind of funny. But he made it home safe, and so did I. I had to stop a couple times on the highway, though. It was bad enough, and I got a little bit of hail, so I didn't want to get into a full-blown hailstorm with my truck. Yeah, boy, the buzz out here is quite remarkable. The bees are really having a good time. It's I don't know what the temperature is out here, but it's fairly warm. It's low to mid 20s C here, so it's a nice day. A little bit of a breeze, as I'm sure you can tell. Here we have our mobile hive. It's almost ready to be put on its stand. It is as close as it can be, and then I can move that now anytime onto its stand. Yesterday was my trip to Winnipeg, and actually I took the opportunity. There were a dozen more zombies left at Ian's, and I took the opportunity when I was done in Winnipeg, because once I get to Winnipeg, I'm halfway there. I went over to Ian's and got those last zombies. And so that kind of led right into this morning's work, because I got home and I put them straight in the building. They never did come out here. So I'll show you that in a little bit. I've got a big air conditioner going in there. And today was deliveries as well. I had to take in a couple of stores, do a few errands, but it wasn't to Winnipeg. It was mostly just Selkirk. So that took me until mid-afternoon. Yeah. So, and I only got stung a few times moving bees. I got stung in the face right here. It's kind of red. So that's because I was not wearing sunglasses and not wearing a veil or, well, anything else other than t-shirt and shorts, of course. And they were not too happy with me, so they let me know that. Yeah, that's really all that's going on here this week. Yeah, so I've just been trimming the grass. I've got my Milwaukee string trimmer out, and I'm just doing the fence line to keep it's good to keep the grass down off the electric wires. When the grass touches the electric wires, it takes a lot of juice out of the controller. Not that I'm short on juice. That thing is, I think that's pretty well the most powerful controller that Gallagher makes. If not, it's mostly. So I'll try to make a little bit of video about making these nukes up out of the zombies. I don't think it's going to be too educational or anything. It's just transferring frames and pinching old queens. That's going to be hard. I don't like killing queens. But, you know, that's the whole plan, right? These zombies. And I'll be honest, I looked in some of them as I was prepping them to move, and they haven't really gone anywhere. They're almost just what they were when they came here a month ago. A month ago, they came here almost 2 months ago, like seven weeks or so. Yeah, that's crazy. That was the first week, I think, of first or second week of May. That's the last week of June now. Yeah, so they've really not done a whole lot, and but they are what I wanted. They're just some bees and a little bit of brood and enough to take hold in a nuke and get those new queens laying. So hopefully they can fill those 6 framers and grow up in winter. That is the plan. That is the plan, Stan. So there should be about 50 of them when all is said and done. I'm going to leave it there for today. So sorry for leaving an entire week, but it was just, you know, just little things. And extremely busy, and I am so exhausted. I'm so exhausted. But I got to keep pushing. I got to push to take advantage of the season. The season goes so fast, and take advantage of the resources that I have, like the zombies and whatnot. These beautiful colonies that I've purchased queens for, that I've had queens donated, money donated. I've had nukes donated to me. This is, yeah, see, this is you guys. This is not me. This is what you built. You built this. I didn't. I just carried the boxes around. Right? This is all you. Oh, honey flow. So I put some supers and things on here, but there's not really a whole lot going on yet. I supremely expect it to really start up next week. But you know, this season has been so goofy. It's been so crazy wet here. The grass in the old apiary is 5 feet high. So will that translate into flowers in the landscape to make honey from? I don't know. Because it's also been not very warm. And the not very warm part is translated into colonies that aren't growing very fast. So that's kind of what we're up against right now. And I hope the honey flow goes well here. So you can no doubt hear that big air conditioner running. That's a 13,000 BTU air conditioner. It's a pretty stout unit. It'll make a meat locker out of that honey house. So I'll open the door here so you can see what's behind door number 1. There'd be a ton of zombie nukes behind door number 1. So nothing too incredible. They're just all sitting here. There's a skid behind there, 2 skids behind there you can't see. I had to put the wooden ones on the bottom. I'm not really sure how many of these Pro Nukes I could stack like this, but it looks like 6 on 6 seems to work out okay. Doesn't seem to stress them too much. And the fact that it's spread out and it's a flat load works okay. So anyway, I've got that set at, I think I've got it set at 64. The readout on this thing is in F. I don't know if that speaks to its age or its country of origin. Probably country of origin, because it doesn't seem that old. So there they are, and they will sit in here for the duration and come out likely Saturday morning. Hopefully it's supposed to rain Friday, so hopefully it's not too wet Saturday to move them out. But regardless, that's what happens. It's Friday, June 28th, 2024. Now you might think, looks like you just woke up, and I did. I will confess that. It's not even morning, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I haven't felt good all day, and I decided because it's raining today, it was time for a day of rest. And so I took an old man nap this afternoon, and I think it did me some good. I hope I'm in top form tomorrow because I want to dive into those zombies full force. And I know there was someone in the comments asking about the definition of zombies. I am going to expand on that in time. So stay tuned. I'm going to do a little talk on that. So needless to say, I really didn't accomplish much here today. I was going to take a walk out to the apiary just now because it had stopped raining, and by the time I got my shoes on, well, it was raining again. So I'm not into just standing out in the apiary in the rain. So this week's video isn't really very comprehensive. However, I thought I would just show you a little thing that happened this week. It was a very nice surprise, and it was that Mike at Dancing Bee in Manitoba here, and Janos from Instant Vap in Hungary, they got together and cooked up a scheme, and they decided to pass along a Instant Vap compact over my way. And I just want to show you that little device, and I'm going to be testing that out, and I'll give you my impressions of it. It's not a deal where it's a paid promotion kind of a thing. I'm under no obligation to give you a positive review. In fact, in his own words, Janos said to me, show it on your channel, but he said only the truth, only say the truth. And so that is exactly what you can expect from me on this device. Thought I'd do a little unboxing here of it. It's not a very smooth unboxing as far as YouTube goes, but we have a nice little instructions for use. So we'll just toss that because everybody knows you don't read the instructions. I think you almost can. However, I will go over that because there are a few little points of interest that a person wants to take into account, like cleaning of it and whatnot. So I'm not going to stand here and bore you while I read that, but I will read it. So in the box, this is, look at how nicely this is packaged. I'll put that back in there just to show you. Look how nicely this is packaged. Right? I got a vaporizer a while back, and it was kind of in a box with a bunch of crumpled paper. And I mean, it wasn't damaged or anything, but this is very professional looking. So that's the compact. The most notable feature of a compact, separate from the regular one, is there's no display. The actual numbers for the temperatures really isn't all that interesting, not that helpful. So there's a power switch here and a little red LED. My only concern, because I haven't used it, is that in the sunlight the LED is actually bright enough to see. So the LED, I believe the LED will light once the vaporizer is complete, up to temperature and ready to go to the next one. Now I have to read the directions, so that's still yet to be seen. It has the handy metering device here. It's a plunger, so you pull that back. There's a gauge on here. This is really nice stainless steel, very high quality product. So there's a gauge on here, so I can thread this back to give me 1, 2, 3, or 4 grams of oxalic acid for the vaporizer. So if I set that at 2, for example, then I could just put it in the oxalic acid and kind of pack it in the end there. And then when I put it in the machine, push it down, you can see that it protrudes, drops the acid into the burn chamber. So there's no plug or anything to be using with the burn chamber like the other units that I've had that I still have, but there's a cleaning plug. I believe that's for cleaning, that I can put some water in the chamber and put that plug on there, hold that on, and it'll boil off that water and steam out. And again, I'm going to read the directions to confirm that that's exactly how it goes. Pretty sure it does, though. There's spare O-rings here, and that looks like the O-ring that goes on the little plunger deal. I think they have, he does, so the handle is a hollow tube, but that's made here, you can actually stick that plunger in there. I guess if you have a spare plunger, I think you can buy these separately, then you can, you know, have one in the unit and one in the burn chamber or something. It's getting that out of there is the deal. It's pretty tight. That O-ring is new, so anyway, you know, the build quality, I don't know that I've actually ever handled one of these. I've seen them online, I've seen them in the store, but yeah, the build quality seems just tremendous, really tremendous. It's got these little teeth here. You're supposed to put it in the entrance, and the little teeth go under the box and holds it up. It's very, very strong, it seems. So I'm using the Milwaukee M18 system, so those just go on there. And I know this is not the battery I want to use. This is a 2-amp battery. It's not the battery to use with this. I've got a 9 and a 5, I think, is my next biggest one. I think he says you want to use at least a 5, or, you know, larger, of course. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about it at this point, but I will expand on my comments on this unit when I use it. Carrie was actually here last fall. She did a round of vaporization for me on my colonies, and she used the, I don't know what you call it, the non-compact, the one that's got the larger body and the display. She used that one for vaporizing colonies, and I kind of stood back and watched her, and boy, she worked fast. She worked fast anyway, but I'm sure this thing will keep up to my aging, decrepit body. So that's that for now, and I want to send along a huge thanks to Janos and Mike to get me into this unit. I really appreciate it, and this is just an extension of those who have supported me this year with my you know, bad luck, if you want to call it, with my colonies, because things have been pretty difficult in that arena. So I appreciate that. That'll help with keeping my colonies healthy, keeping the mites down, and hopefully improve the wintering success of my colonies. So that's that. There's an optional little part here, and it's kind of taped to the box, which I think I'm going to leave. I believe it's a silicone tube. And what happens there is, if you have polystyrene boxes, and you may know that I have a few polystyrene boxes I use, the silicone tube is just, it's an insulator to help avoid damage to the polystyrene by the hot tube coming out of the vaporizer. So I guess you put that over the tube and then put it in the entrance of the polystyrene hive box to vaporize that colony. Thanks for watching this week's vlog. Not very interesting or helpful or educational, I'm sure, but it is an update of what's going on here, and hopefully tomorrow I feel better, because I do want to jump into those zombies and get those started to break them up and get them into their into their nukes. I'm putting those in 6 frames, so hopefully they'll fill 6 frames and winter in those okay. The timing on that, is driven by when the queens arrive, and I'm not exactly sure when those arrive yet, but it should be within the week, and I don't have to time it perfectly. However, I'd like to be ready with the nukes when the queens arrive so I can go straight to introduction. When I make those up, and it never works out just best case scenario, I'm always hurried or doing last minute things. However, best case scenario, I'll make up a queenless nuke and let it sit for a few days. And the reason I want it to sit is so that I can go back to that nuke and destroy any rogue cells that they've started. If I have a virgin appear after I introduce my queen, then the virgin will likely kill the queen, and then may or may not even mate after that. And even if she does, she's an emergency queen. So not a best case scenario. So I'd like to wait 4 or 5 days. And you say, well, you don't have to wait 4 or 5 days. You don't really. However, they can make a queen, I think, up to 5 days after egg lay. So if there are eggs in any of those cells, they still have a lot of time there to make that queen, because I think it's 36 hours after the egg hatches, and the egg hatches on day 3. So that's quite a bit of time. That's quite a bit of time. And I don't like to check for rogue cells just before I introduce, because I like to shake off those bees from the frames to check for rogue cells, because often emergency cells are not very big and the bees will hide them. These nukes are not very strong, so it shouldn't be a big burden. However, after I shake those bees off, work up the hive, then I don't want to introduce a queen right away. So I'd like to do it the next day. So that's kind of the timing. About 5 days, I think, is just about right. So if I make these Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's Thursday next week to do my introductions. And again, I don't know when the queens are arriving, but that might work out just fine. But I've got to do this on Saturday. We've got to get this show on the road. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize for an abbreviated video this week. And I hope you'll watch again next week, because I might have something to show you with the zombies and introducing queens with those. We'll see how that whole thing goes. I'm still waiting for honey flow here. They're just starting to bring in a little bit, but nothing too incredible, so I haven't been adding a lot of supers. All of the nukes that I have that I introduced this year, they're just kind of sitting in a 10 frame box, holding their own. And I really am anxious for this honey flow to start, but you can't rush nature, right? So I'm thinking, if I can judge last year, it was about next week when the honey flow really got underway. So we'll look forward to that next week. There's always next week, right? And then one time there's not. So, okay, we'll leave it at that. I really appreciate you watching. Take care and have fun. This is a mic. This is a mic. This is a mic. This is a mic test. This is my FM radio voice.